right like to the victim, I'm gonna take it back a long time. Feeling the one in the life, nigga the music. Mama, Redbird, what you like now? Some son of the my team, I'm a dirty man, come on. Come on. The life of King and Go, but the things that must have you. What about the number 3?
Rock City Networks and tonedeaf.com.au coming to you from Face the Music 2011 here at the Arts Centre in Melbourne, and joining me, Paul Cashmere, CEO of the Noise Network. How are you, Paul?
Hey Ben, how you going?
I'm good, mate. It's not very often we get to catch up because you're so busy, and I try and be as busy as you guys, but you set the benchmark and it's very hard to keep up.
Well, I think this is becoming an annual event.
It is.
We'll see you this time next year as well. We'll do the third one.
We're slowly graduating to nicer surroundings. I think we were standing in the foyer with hundreds of people walking behind us last year. But that's okay. We've got the nice leather couches now. So
this is actually Ben's office.
The
elevator in the back.
That's the doors right there.
Leather lounges. It's plush carpet.
Don't let anyone fool you.
He's doing very well for himself.
Doing all right. Mate, yesterday, Friday, the start of Face the Music, you facilitated the keynote speaking session with Brent Grolke from South by Southwest, the creative director.
Yeah.
How was that?
Well, great stuff. I've been to South by Southwest 7 times. 8 coming up next year, hopefully. And so I had a pretty good handle on what it was all about. And it is the benchmark of music festivals and conferences right around the world. So to sit there and talk to somebody who'd been there from the start and to sort of throw the DNA together for what creates one of the great music conferences around the world was, I found just fascinating for myself to be able to sit there and talk to somebody like Brent.
Yeah, now, I mean, we were just talking to Brent before, and he's just so giving with his information, but for a person that is involved in such a benchmark event, so down to earth and so freely gives information.
Yeah, and I think the one thing that a lot of people in Australia, when they hear about South by Southwest, don't understand is the sheer size of the event.
Yeah.
It's an entire city taken over by music.
Yeah.
The impression that I get from a lot of people that I talk to is that they think it's like a big day out.
Yeah.
And it's not that. It's like 100 big day outs
all rolled
into
absolutely,
one.
Yeah.
So, not even a big day out, because that sort of then alludes to the fact that, there's these big stages and big crowds. It's lots of little venues. I think one of the biggest venues is about 2,000 people. Yeah. We saw Metallica at a barbecue in there one year.
That was the Guitar Hero launch in 2009, wasn't it?
Yeah. And, so they would have Metallica come along and perform at Stubbs Barbecue. I've seen Duran Duran played in there this year, but they have little punk clubs that hold maybe 150 people. Yoko Ono played in there this year.
Yeah.
So the diversity of the musical styles that you see in one small amount of space pretty much makes this like a rock and roll Disneyland. It's a fascinating event. Anybody who works in the music industry, is a music fan, I'd suggest they try and at least do South by Southwest once in their lifetime.
Yeah. Well, I've done it once and would love to do it again, but the planning and preparation to get over there is a different story, and definitely making the trip worth it. You need to plan. I think that was the one thing I learned about that visit. Now, let's get on to other music diversity. Let's talk about Noise11.com and the Noise Network.
Yeah.
Last year we were talking to you as Undercover. Now it's Noise 11.
Yep.
How did Noise 11 develop, and what's the story behind it?
Well, Undercover we had for around 15 years. We had sold Undercover into a public company. In the course of the last 12 months, in fact in April this year, I had a heart attack, and that sort of changed where I needed to be and what I needed to do. After having been put in a situation like that, I decided to withdraw myself from the pressures of a public company and pretty much go back to being, the independent, small entity that we started off with doing 15 years ago. So that's, pretty much what we created in putting together Noise11.com. And, it's part syndication company, part, website. But, just the stories of the artists, the stories of the music industry, pretty much, the day-to-day blogging style of content that, is pretty much, my views and views of a few other writers on, what's happening in the business on any given day.
Now, it's attached to, from what I read, you're a channel for iiNet on IPTV. Is that
iiNet, yes. We're in fact. As we're speaking, that's all falling into place at the moment. iiNet is the second biggest ISP in Australia, and we have come on board as their music channel. So people who have iiNet will be able to watch the video interviews, the video performances that we actually capture, basically free of charge. And I mean by free of charge, it won't impact on their metered bandwidth.
Yeah.
As iiNet customers.
So that's good. That's really good.
Yeah. So it's I don't know what the technical terms for that they would use for that, but it's unmetered content for customers of iiNet, so they can watch hours of our content, and it won't be chewing up their own bandwidth.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, what's the what are the big stories from Noise 11 this year? If we want to do sort of like a little bit of a retrospective as we get towards the end of the year, and it being a new business for you guys.
Well, in terms of music stories?
Or just I would say more along the lines of highlights for noise11.com as the entity itself.
Yeah, well, I think pretty much the day-to-day meeting up with the artists, getting them in, talking to them, finding out pieces of information that no one really knew. We love extracting that information out of artists. It was fascinating having the Angels in a couple of weeks ago, and John Brewster telling me that Doc Neeson had actually left the band when what we were reading on Doc's Facebook was that he was still in the band and would just come back whenever he wanted. That was a bit of a scoop for us. John Stevens from Noiseworks was in just this week actually, and started talking about the fourth Noiseworks album. Last Noiseworks album was Love versus Money back in 1992. So that was news to me that Noiseworks are in the studio actually doing a brand new album that we will hear in 2012. So they're the sort of things that we love to sort of capture from artists and then communicate that back to the music fans that are out there.
Excellent. Now, where's Noise 11 heading for the rest of the year? We only have about a month and a half left, and what are the big plans for 2012?
Well, I think what we want to do is to expand what we're doing in different technologies. I think we've now moved away from the web-driven industry that we'd seen media and content turn into. I think a lot of people are now turning to the web because they want their content on demand. They want video content, and it's our job to be able to supply that to them in a format and a quality that they're used to when they're, say, watching traditional television, so they can just go from their traditional television channel over to an IPTV channel and watch content on demand. So I think what we're going to see, particularly over the course of the next 12 months, is that IPT technologies, on-demand technologies, are going to become a lot bigger. I think it's going to take a few years, and quite a few years, for it to actually get to the point that say a Foxtel is at today. Foxtel took 15 years to get to where they are today. And people are just absorbing media differently to what they were doing 10 years ago. So we're monitoring very closely how people are going about that. You jump onto a tram or a bus or a train these days, and people are watching.
Everyone's on handsets.
Everyone's on a phone. They've got their their iPad. They're actually watching what we would have in the old days called television. They're watching that now in a portable means that it was unheard of. I mean, the old Dick Tracy watch. I believe Apple, and this is a fact, Apple are going to be releasing a video watch. So it'll almost be like the old Dick Tracy days.
That'd be great. Yeah.
But that I believe is coming out in 2012. So they're the sort of technologies. People move with technology. As people move with their technology, it's up to the media to move with those people as well, because it's all about the audience. The audience is at the other end. And, if they used to be over at this position over here and they're now moved over there, then it's our job to go with them.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
That's what we're doing.
Great. Well, Paul, thank you very much for your time. It's a pleasure as always.
Always fun. See you in
2012.
Yes.
I'm sure
November 2012 we'll be back.
Hopefully we'll see you a little sooner than that. It's always good to catch up. And if you want any more information, obviously you can go to noise11.com. It's part of the Noise Network. Paul, thank you very much. Paul Cashmere joining us here from noise11.com. And It's for, mate, actually, you know what, best wishes and good luck with everything. And I actually didn't know about the heart attack earlier on in the year, so, you know,
Can I just say, if you're a guy 30 plus, get a checkup.
Yeah? All right, well, I'm about to hit that, so I'll start now. But, you know, good health to you, mate, and you, pardon me, you always continue to be the benchmarks for content delivery, and we'll look forward to seeing what you guys do in the future.
Thanks.
It's Paul Cashmere here for Noise11.com, for Roxy Networks and ToneDeaf.com.au. Got a blind man feeling, get it up there. Step on the scene like a living dream, and he move on the screen like he Billy Jean. Yeah. Hey there, Billy with the hoochie coochie. Got a blind man feeling, give it up that loop. Step on the scene like a living dream, and he move on the screen like he Billy Jean. Yeah.